Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. How are you, my dear beautiful girls? Inshallah, now, today, we are going to study another lesson, which is very interesting lesson, which is culture and art in the Middle East. Before everything, you should know what is the meaning of the word culture. Culture means so many things, but all these things are common in one community or in among a group of people. The food the people eat, the beliefs you share with others, the type of clothes a group of people are usually put on, the ideas that some people share together, all these, even the arts and the way we celebrate some occasions, the way we celebrate weddings among a group of people, this is called the culture. So every group of people of every country has a culture which is different from the other culture. So cultures are different to enrich our life, and what should we do for these cultures? We should know each other's culture and respect each other's culture. There are some videos uploaded on Classera to explain more what is the meaning of the word culture. Literature of our region. In the past, people passed on stories by listening and telling. This is known as oral tradition. And why they use it to pass on stories by listening and telling? Because at that time, or in the past, people could not read or write, or not all people could read or write, and that's why they depend on oral tradition. Before Islam, poetry and literature were influenced by stories from India and Persia. Again, here we are talking about the literature in our countries before Islam, because Islam affected our literature greatly. Poetry and literature were influenced by stories from India and Persia. Persia means old Iran. A popular form of poetry was qasida, which is a long love poem, usually about war, love, and courage. Some of the famous stories that came from our region were Shahnama. Shahnama is a Persian word or Iranian word. It means in English the Book of Kings. It's an epic story about the ancient history of Iran. So this is a story or this kind of or piece of literature from Iran, and Iran is a very important country in the Middle East. Although they do not speak Arabic. 1001 Arabian Nights or Alf Layla Layla, a famous collection of stories. They came out during the Islamic Golden Age. So when I ask you when did the Arabian Nights come out, you should say during the Islamic Golden Age. The Islamic Golden Age means at the time of the caliphs. The stories developed over many centuries and they have their roots in ancient tradition. So the Arabian Nights is a very important piece from the Arabic or the Middle East literature. It came out during the Islamic Golden Age. This is before Islam and at the beginning of Islam or the time of the Rashidun Caliph. The rise of Islam changed the literature of our region. How Islam affected the literature of the Middle East. Islam discouraged romantic poetry and stories because in our Islam it's haram. It's something which is very private. It cannot or should not be distributed among people. The Quran became the most important book for people to study. So after Islam, which book became the most important book for the people to study? The Quran. More important than poetry, more important than stories, more important than any other thing. Okay, let us continue. Here, Islamic art. In the previous page, we talked about the literature, the stories, the poems, the tales. But here we are going to talk about the art. When I mean art, I mean drawing. The laws of Islam do not strictly allow images of people and living things because it is haram in our Islam to draw or even take pictures for living things because only Allah can do this. However, throughout the Islamic world, there is a strong tradition of illustrating secular or non-religious books. The non-religious books can be illustrated, but the religious books, there is no way or it's not allowed or it's forbidden to illustrate pictures in religious books. Story illustration. Story illustration means the drawing that illustrate something in the story. At the courts of Islamic rulers or leaders, beautifully illustrated books were valuable treasures. Can you see this illustration story? This is a story illustration, an illustration from the famous epic book Shahnama, the book that came from Iran, which means in English the Book of Kings. Also, this picture or this illustration from 1001 Arabian Nights, Alf Leila و Leila. So, the illustrations were done to the non-religious books, but it is, it is still forbidden to illustrate pictures or draw anything in religious books, because our Islam or the laws of Islam do not strictly allow images of people and living things. This is for drawing. What about maps? Can you see this old map? Maps were only written or drawn to talk about the history of battles or the cities captured by one of the two or any of the leaders, like this one. The Ottoman Sultan Suleiman commissioned the Ottoman Sultan. It means the Sultan. He took the place of the Caliph. Do you remember when we studied the Rashidun Caliphs, the Umayyad Caliphs, and the Abbasid Caliphs? After some time, when the Ottomans started to control the Muslim state, they changed this title to be the Sultan. He commissioned a story of his own life. He wrote or he asked the people to write the story of his own life. Some of the pictures showed beautifully illustrated maps of the cities captured and ruled by the Ottomans. So they used only to draw maps just in the books or in the documents that record their battles and their story lives, like the Ottoman Sultan Suleiman. Here we have two important words, calligraphy and the illumination. What's the difference between calligraphy and the illumination? Calligraphy is this beautiful writing, is the art of beautiful decorative writing. The art of beautiful decorative writing, this one. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. قال فما خطبكم أيها المرسلون قالوا إنا أرسلنا إلى قوم مجرمين لنرسل عليهم حجارة من طين. Can you see, صدق الله العظيم, can you see how beautiful is this writing? It's beautiful decorative writing. This art is called calligraphy. Islam teaches that the Quran is the word of Allah. That is the scribe's job teaches that the Quran the scribe's job is to record the word of Allah in a flowing, beautiful style. Of course, we should record the word of Allah in a beautiful way as an act of worship. So it was from ibadah to record the Quran in such a beautiful writing. This is the meaning of calligraphy. What about illumination? Means decorating the manuscript with extra patterns, usually in bands around the page. Can you see the decorations around the writing? These decorations is called illumination, usually in bands around the page, as you can see here. Some illuminated manuscripts are decorated with gold and silver leaf. Gold and silver. If you have some in some of the books of the Holy Quran, just open the first page, you can see a lot of illumination like this. Sometimes they use gold and silver for these decorations. Here, these verses from the Quran are written in beautiful Naskihi calligraphy with illuminated borders. Can you see the illuminated borders here? These are called illumination, and the beautiful decorative writing is called calligraphy. This is an art that is related to the writing of the Holy Quran, which is considered the most important book to study. Now we finished talking about culture and art in the Middle East. Thanks for your listening, and goodbye till we meet again.